Alright, I think I'm live here. Hey guys, if you're watching this back, just trying out live here. Trying to get things set up. Alright. So what I want to do tonight is I want to start going over how I build things. Right now, what I want to do is put up a fence along this area here. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I just got to find, I have a jig that I use to show me where 8 feet is. Just trying to find it. But anyways, this is what we're going to be doing, is putting these up. These are 1mm styrene rods, and we're going to space these out 8 feet. And I have a jig somewhere, but I could also quickly make one real quick. So let me do that. Let me make another jig real quick. I'll show you how I do that. So what I got right here is Evergreen 223. This is 3/32 tube. And this fits perfectly over 1mm rod styrene. So what we're going to do is cut this to 8 feet. I'm going to do it on my bench over here, and then I'll show you. Alright, so we got our jig here. Now let me set up the pin vise. Wherever that ran off to. Here we go. And we're going to get a drill bit. A little bit smaller than the rod itself, because you want it to be, you want it to stay have some friction going in so it doesn't slop around. So we'll start here. Let me straighten that out. I think the bit is bent. But we'll make do. We don't have to go far. Alright, hang on. Let me try this one. Alright, that should do it. Alright, so we're going to start here. And what we'll do, let me get on the stool here so I can see. I already lost where I put that hole. I think it was right here. We'll make another one. Alright, so we're going to stick this in. This is a 1mm rod. And then this. Hang on. I should have went bigger. Let me use this. Alright, so we're going to make that a little bit bigger. This is 225 5/32 tube. We're going to cut this to 8 feet. Alright. So we're going to slide that over. And I don't know if you can see it, but we're right there at 8 feet. So we can keep that there. And then what we'll do is we'll lay this down right next to it. And that tells me that we have 8 feet right there. And then we'll put our jig back on it. Push it down until we get 8 feet. Now, I don't want this fence to be perfect at all. I want this fence to look run down and old. So it's okay if these posts are all messed up and mangled. So we'll go another 8 feet. We'll get our jig. And also, this isn't going to be a normal fence where it has a bottom railing and a top railing. This is going to be laid from post to post. So it's going to look sloppy. But that's pretty much what I want. I just want it to look like old industrial fencing. Might have to drill that down a little bit more. So we'll pull this up a little bit. There's 8 feet. And this one looks pretty high. No. It's just about right there. Once we get a significant amount done, I think we'll take a toothpick and we'll go along the bottom of each one and just give it a dab of super glue. Because I can hand paint these silver. So lay down another 8 feet. And if you do it this way, you will consistently have 8 feet all the time. All right. A little bit shallow. There we go. There's another 8 feet. And I have tons and tons and tons of 10-foot sections, 10 or 11-foot sections of these 1mm rods. Because this building back here, I tried doing this with 1mm rods. I got halfway through and said, nah. So I ended up forking out the money to just get the corrugated siding. All right. There's another 8 feet. I think what we'll do now is give each one a piece of not a piece, but a little dab of super glue. So something I like using when I'm working with super glue is notepads. You can put your glue on top. It doesn't soak through. If you get like thicker notepad, the glue won't soak through. So you can clob it on there. So we have a little bit on there right there. So what we'll do is we'll take just a little bit and go around each we'll go around each pole. We'll dab a super glue here. Now and I do apologize if the quality's not great for the video. This is the first time trying out live, so just trying to see how it goes. So we're going to give each pole a little bit of super glue. We'll get some more on there. And then I'll probably let this set up overnight. And then tomorrow when I come home, I can show you how I do the actual fencing. So we're going to keep going. We're going to put up all the poles around this little section here. Try to finish that out. So we'll get the jig back up here. I'm going to move the camera down a little bit. So for those joining, we're working on a fencing here. Just give me a second here. I also have the live up on my computer here. So I want to change the title. What? Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is my first time going live, so it's going to be sloppy. So I apologize. All right. Yeah, I'm looking at the picture on my computer, and it's not great. So apologies there. All right. So we're going to keep going with all the fence posts. We're going to get all the way up to the road. And so you can see the road to the left there. So we'll keep putting up fence posts. All right, for those just joining, we are building a fence for this little lot. Tonight we're going to put up all the fences, or not all the poles, I should say. And then tomorrow night, I'll go over how I build the actual chain link. Oops. And this tube that I keep using, this is a 8-foot jig, so that I consistently get an 8-foot height on the post and an 8-foot distance between each post. All right, so we've almost made it. We got some more over here. All right. Probably just maybe 2 or 3 more. All right, so we got a significant distance there. Let's bring back the super glue. We'll get some more on there. And I just want to go along the base of each pole. And I'm doing this because we're going to hand paint the poles. All right, let's keep going with the poles. Let me move over to this side. So right now I'm standing on my stool. Let me do this. Let me move this stuff over. And we'll put the camera like right there. All right. Sorry for the shaking. All right, so probably one more post going this way. I think going forward, if I'm gonna be building stuff, I think live stream is gonna be the way to go. Because then I really don't have to go back and edit. So now let's start heading this way with it. We'll probably get another pole after that one. And I've been putting off building this for a while. And I kind of just figured tonight's the night. All right, let me pull this back a little bit. Sorry for the shaking. All right, so we got some more poles in. Now we're gonna glue them down. A little bit of super glue on the end of the secure. And we don't need a lot. You know, we're not holding up a skyscraper here, so we don't need a whole lot of it. So now we'll come down on this side and we'll finish this out. Oops. I think this is going to look really cool when it's all done. And I rust it all up. I also have no idea how the audio sounds. It's probably atrocious. All right, probably just a couple more. All right, audio's good. All right, it's probably just one more coming outwards. All right, and now we'll put a little bit of glue on there. All right, for those of you who are joining, we are building a fence for this little lot. I build everything from scratch. Everything, all the buildings you see on the layout right now are all hand built, hand painted. I do my best to capture realism, but like all of us, I'm still learning. All right, so that seems like all the fence posts there. Now, let me show you guys what I use. Now, according to Joann's, which is sadly going out of business, this material I'm holding right now is like a veil mesh, like a tulle. And what I use is, it's perfect every time. I use this ruler you can get from Walmart. It's like $3. And I'm going to show you guys how I cut it. So give me a second to clear off my space here, and we'll cut it. I did buy a so when I went back to Joann's the other night, they didn't have the silver, so I got green, which is fine. When I run out of the silver, I'll airbrush the green silver, so you won't even know. Let me drop you down a little bit. All right, let me just get some more stuff out of the way here. All right, for those joining, we are building an HO scale fence, and in about a second, we are going to cut this up. This material right here. All right. Let me get it laid out all nice. All right, what did I do? There it is. So just like this right here, I lay out the fabric, and we cut both sides. I'm gonna try not to cut my finger off. All right. These scissors probably aren't going to do anything. Oh, spoke too soon. And that's okay if we get imperfections in the section here, because it'll add to the realism of it being an older fence. But this right here, this little strip, I don't know if you can see it. You can probably see it. It's the perfect 8-foot height for our fence here. So let me move you back up. Oops. All right. All right, so now we're back at the post here. What we're gonna do is paint them a chrome silver. And this is what I'm using right here. X11 by Tamiya. Chrome silver. We'll give that a good shake. And we'll just work out of the cap. This way we don't spill our paint all over the layout. So we don't need a lot of paint. Just enough to get it on there. Just trying to find a good spot to stand and have the camera in front of me at the same time. So give me a second while I try to set this up a little better. That's probably good. Now it may look weird now, but when I put the fabric up to it, your eyes are gonna fall out of your head with how pretty good it looks. For example, this right here is the same method, but I added the spikes for the barbed wire. And I did the barbed wire by just cutting triangles on a thin piece of styrene. Now, I should also mention that this is not my method of doing this. I learned this from Boomer Dioramas. He's been a huge inspiration to me getting into the hobby. I try to follow his teachings very closely and just share practice. You know, I didn't get halfway decent overnight. This is my third layout. All right, so a couple more here. But back to the subject of Boomer Dioramas. He's got a great channel. He's got an amazing looking layout. If you haven't seen him, you should check it out. He's been in the film industry. He's worked in museums. So he's got all the techniques and he goes over all of it. These trees, these are all using the Boomer method. All right, we got a couple more down here to paint. Now, normally I build these in sections, like 40-foot sections. Actually, believe it or not, I built a jig for that as well. So, this piece of styrene here, not styrene, I'm sorry, insulation foam. This is a jig for a 40-foot fence, 8-foot spacing. You know, if you just sit down and build one of these, you can build, you know, a couple 100 feet of fencing a night. And I'm not worried about getting the backs of the poles painted. You'll never see it. The layout's not meant to be viewed from the back anyway. That's kind of why I kind of cheat a little bit. And every one of my locomotives that you see is weathered. It's only weathered on one side, because you'll only ever see one side of the locomotive. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to show you what this will look like. Hang on, it's sticking to my finger here. You got to watch when you're putting this stuff up, because if you have any bits of super glue stuck to your finger or anything, it'll catch it and mess you all up. All right. Let me get my tweezers here. but you kind of get the point that, you know, of what it's going to look like. So when we're ready, we'll take our skewer, a little bit of super glue, and we'll just go up. We'll do a little drag of super glue along the back. And then if there's anything, anything's popping up, you can take a real nice pair of scissors and trim off the top. But what we want to do is I kind of want to leave, you can't really see it that well. Let me see. Not even with that. But there's kind of like a cut in the fabric here. And that'll look cool once it's up. It'll look like a broken piece of the fence there. But we've been going for almost an hour now. And I appreciate everyone that hung around. So we'll pick this up tomorrow. Probably tomorrow night. Probably a little bit earlier than it is now. I kind of just, you know, took a shot in the dark and said, let's try live. So this is working on an HO scale fence. This will be part 1. Come back tomorrow. We'll finish this up. We'll put the we'll put this up, and we'll do any more details. I think I want to do a little bit of 12mm static grass, just some weeds up along the posts. And here's one of my trucks that's usually sitting in this lot. Or I'm not sure. We might take out these two and just kind of leave it open, because what this lot is if you've ever seen trucks, you know, hanging out in a parking lot somewhere, that's usually because they ran out of hours for the day and they have to sleep or not drive for a specific amount of time until they can hit the road again. And that is what this lot is supposed to be, just kind of like a off the road area for truckers. Or later on down the road, I might just change it up completely. You know, the number one thing with mono railroading is you're never done, and the ideas never stop. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you all for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.